Hello guys, I've got a very quick video for you today. Originally this was going to be part of my M3 half-track build, but that half-track is taking a bit more time than I thought. So I thought I'd show you how I built the terrain base for it, and at the same time give you a couple of sneak previews of how that half-track is turning out. And I'm hoping that the half-track and the figures will be finished within the next week or so. So I wanted to make a simple base for this kit. I wouldn't really call it a diorama, and it was mainly inspired by this photo here. I took a small wooden stand that I had laying around, and you can see how small it is when I put the half track on it. Using a small amount of PVA glue only, I stuck on some 6mm XPS foam. The reason for adding the foam was to keep the moisture from the products I'm going to use away from the wood as much as possible, hopefully to stop it warping. I piled up offcuts of XPS foam on the side of the base. These will add the elevation for the piles of rubble and brickwork and so on, but the actual shape of these won't be visible underneath the products I'm going to use later. This is purely about using cheap, lightweight foam instead of more expensive, heavier other products. You'll notice in the reference photo that there are lots of broken pieces of wood and floorboards and things like that. So while that was all drying, I took some coffee stirrers and snapped them into varying lengths. I also softened up their edges a little bit with a hobby knife. One of the many things I have in my cupboard which I need to use up is this box of plaster bricks, which I made using a brick mould a while ago, a couple of years ago now, and I never quite got around to using. Most of them are single bricks, but there are a few bigger sections and even some whole sections of wall. Another product I haven't used for a while and I've got lying around is this sculptamold. This is a combination of plaster and papier-mâché. I mixed it up with a small amount of water. This is actually quite a dry mix. And I added it over the top of my XPS foam, adding some of those broken pieces of wood as I did so. The intention of this is to have it act like a general pile of rubble and to act as an adhesive for the bricks. Of course, a road is never going to be dead flat, especially in wartime, so I thinned out the remaining sculptamold with even more water and spread it very lightly across the remaining section, just to give a sort of bumpy, rough road impression. Then, while the sculptamold was still wet, I basically poured the bricks on top and pushed them in, so that they actually looked like the bricks were part of the rubble rather than sprinkles on top of a cake. Once that was dry, I tipped it upside down to remove any loose bricks, but to be honest, very few came off. Now this image looks like I've made several steps forward from the previous one, but in fact all I've done is coated everything in black, making sure it gets in all the nooks and crannies behind all the bricks and so on. And then I've given the road a coat of XF52, which is earth, and the brickwork a coat of XF9, which is a dark red colour. And the way that I've achieved these different tones is simply by having very thin paint and varying the amount of paint that I've put on in different areas of the brickwork and the road. So it really was simply a case of using three different colours, the black, the earth and the red, to achieve this. Then I took out the Vallejo model colours, thinned them slightly with water and started to pick out the individual bricks. I did the same thing with the wood, using some browns and some light sandy colours. These were applied much drier than the brickwork, so that some of that dark colour would still show through as wood grain. The other thing I found helpful was to take a lighter shade of the general brick colour and dry brush it all over the bricks. It doesn't really matter what shade the underlying brick is, but this helps to highlight the edges and give everything a bit more of a sense of depth and enhance the sort of 3D nature of it, I guess. And with that, the base is essentially complete. I did airbrush a little bit more of the earth colour onto the road and on the bottom of the brickwork to sort of blend the brickwork rubble and the road into one. But apart from that, it was done. Here it is with a few of my previous models. And of course the M3 half track will be finished soon, and I'll have a video for you as soon as I can. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my Patreon supporters and YouTube members, and I look forward to seeing you in another video soon. Thanks for watching, guys.